Last tidbits about the heart. What is it that makes the heart contract? It is a combination of the heart's ability to make itself contract, which we call the intrinsic conducting system. And then the nervous system has the ability to turn up or down how quickly the heart contracts. So let's learn about what we call the conducting system of the heart, as in a conductor. So there are specialized cardiac muscle cells that exist in a few places in the heart. They are called conducting cells or pacemaker cells. What happens is embryonically, instead of developing actin and myosin and the ability to contract, instead they specialize for transmitting impulses that will cause contractions in other cells. A compact mass of those things is called a node. You have two nodes, and then some you have in chains instead of a compact mass. So the two nodes that are going to be important to you are this one right here. That is located just inferior to the opening of the superior vena cava in the right atrium, and it's called the Sinoatrial Node. And then you have another one that's in the bottom of the right atrium, kind of in the interatrial septum between the right and left atria, and this one is called the Atrioventricular Node. Those two are blobs of cells that just generate a stimulus that will cause contraction in the other parts of the heart. But then, in addition, you also have, instead of just blobs of cells, you have a chain of those cells, the same kind of cells, pacemaker cells, called, this is going to run down the interventricular septum, and it's called the Atrioventricular Bundle, AV bundle. And then the AV bundle is going to split, and one side's going to go to the right heart, and the other side's going to go to the left heart. And so these are called the right and left bundle branches. And then the right and left bundle branches are what's going to talk to the ventricles through these fibers called Purkinje fibers. So let's go from the beginning, and I've got an animation for you too. The SA node is going to initiate each cardiac cycle. So the SA node is fastest, so it gets to be in control. It's the pacemaker of the heart. It generates a spontaneous action potential, a spontaneous stimulus, and causes contraction about 100 times per minute. And what it does is it sends out a stimulus, and the cells will contract in the order they get the stimulus. So the good part about that is that it makes the atria contract top down. And then about the time it gets to the bottom, the AV node was already on its way to a stimulus, but it hadn't got there yet. So the SA node actually takes over and tells it what to do. So it makes it coordinate with the SA node. But the AV node, importantly, it is not going to talk to the ventricles. It is going to hold its tongue. The AV node is not going to talk to contractile cells at all until it is going to send a stimulus down here, not talking to contractile cells. Then it's going to split into the right and left bundle branches, still not talking to contractile cells. It will only start talking to contractile cells once it gets to the Purkinje fibers. The important part about that is that it gives a lag time between atrial contraction and ventricular contraction, which allows for time for filling. And also, if you talk to Purkinje fibers first, the ventricles are going to contract from the bottom and sides up, which is good because the valves are at the top. So you're going to be pushing on them from the back side. So back to your notes, and then I'll show you guys an animation. So you are going to talk to these cells, and then the cells, remember, were connected by gap junctions at intercalated discs. And so you'll talk to one cell, and then it'll tell the other one, and it'll tell the other one. And then the atria are going to contract top down. Then you are going to tell the AV node what to do, and then the AV node is going to send the signal back down the AV bundle, and then to the left and right bundle branches, and then to the Purkinje fibers, which will then tell the ventricles to contract. So the ventricles are going to contract about 0.2 of a second after the atria. So let me show you an animation of the same thing. SA node send signal through the atria, and then the atria are going to contract. And then the AV node, AV bundle, left and right bundle branches, and then the ventricles. And we'll see the contractions in just a second. Running down the interventricular septum, bundle branches, and then Purkinje fibers. So now let's see them at work. Okay, so it is going to go SA node, contraction, pause. There you go. Okay, so if the heart can initiate its own contraction, what does the nervous system do? What does the nervous system do for it at all? Well, autonomic motor innervation, which we learned about before, is able to increase or decrease the rate of contraction in the heart. I think of it like gas and brakes, neither of which will do a darn thing if you haven't started the car. So the SA node is the pacemaker of the heart because it starts the car. Now, after the car is started, you can actively inhibit what it's doing with brakes, or you can actively increase what it's doing with gas. And that is what the autonomic motor division does. So remember, the heart is actually innervated. This isn't a picture you've seen before, but it should be okay to you. Okay, parasympathetic innervation to the heart comes through cranial nerve number 10, which is the vagus nerve. And it's going to go to the SA node and the AV node. And if the parasympathetic nervous system says something to the heart, it will say chill, slow down. But then if a tiger walks in the room, the sympathetic nervous system will send a signal down to the thoracic region of the spinal cord, out through a ganglion, and then it will go to the SA and the AV node, and it will tell it to increase. So the heart is innervated by autonomic motor nerves, but they can only change the rate. They can't initiate a contraction at all. The heart will contract and relax without any stimulus from the nervous system. It's just that you can't control the rate. The sympathetic nervous system actually accelerates your heart rate, and it does that because the medulla oblongata, remember, and this is supposed to be the medulla oblongata, gets to decide your heart rate subconsciously. And the medulla oblongata can say, hey, make it faster, and then send the signal down and make it faster with these purple fibers. Or the parasympathetic nervous system, the medulla oblongata could say, hey, make it slower, and then send the signal through the parasympathetic nervous system. So the heart at rest, when you are just chilling, contracts about 75 times per minute, maybe a little slower, I hope. Despite the fact that the SA node's rate of stimulus is 100 times per minute. And that is because, generally speaking, we have our foot on the brake. The parasympathetic innervation sort of dominates. The heart is also innervated by visceral sensory fibers that can make your heart actually hurt. Okay, last little tidbit is just this. Your heart can become discoordinated, in which the atria are discoordinated from the ventricles. That's not supposed to happen because the SA node is supposed to boss the AV node around. But when it occurs, what should be happening is atrial contraction, pause, ventricular contraction. Atrial contraction, pause, ventricular contraction. But sometimes the ventricles could be doing their thing just fine, and then the atria are spazzing out. That's called atrial fibrillation. And then the other thing could also happen. The atria are going just fine, and then the ventricles are spazzing out. That's called ventricular fibrillation. Fibrillating atria are problematic because blood can clot when it doesn't get pushed out of there. But fibrillating ventricles don't work as pumps, so they can kill you really quickly. So generally speaking, you are going to have to defibrillate with that. Okay, that's it for heart.